This is Coachella for game music.
An entire theater just erupting.
There is no experience of music better.
PlayStation the concert is epic, emotional, and game-changing.
We're getting the music that we know and love, and now we get to experience it on this huge scale.
There's something really special about having this shared experience with a bunch of other fans. There's something really fantastic about that all these people get to experience that now.
And you get to become these characters and live in their shoes and, travel through their world.
And ultimately to walk away as a hero of the story.
The complexity and the visual spectacle that the audience is going to see is it's extraordinary.
About 2 years ago, Chuck Dowd, who is our head of music at PlayStation, came to me and he said, we've had this sort of idea with our Sony music partners at GEA, and what do you think about it?
In a nutshell, PlayStation the concert is a celebration. It's a celebration of the music, a celebration of our fans, a celebration of the games, and a celebration of the people who've made all these wonderful games that people love.
I think the thing that's interesting with PlayStation is that we have a unique brand that is like no other brand out there. We tell amazing stories that allow our gamers to escape to be their ultimate selves.
The vision for this concert was to create an electrifying, deeply emotional live experience with the virtual universes from some of the greatest video games ever created.
I think for us, we were just so keen on creating something that felt different. PlayStation is all about innovation, it's all about creativity. And I think for us, we want to make sure that we're always living on that bleeding edge of whatever it is we do. And because, we do that at such an amazing level within the games, that we wanted to try our hardest to really create that in a live music environment.
For PlayStation the concert, we want to transport the audience into the PlayStation universe. So we've designed a multi-dimensional stage design that brings many of the iconic PlayStation games to life through screen, projection visuals, lighting, and of course, an amazing musical performance by an all-star musical ensemble.
We've used the stage in a modular way to really kind of create high-impact moments and using the different surfaces in a playful way to create really quiet moments as well.
I think in every game we have certain light looks which are brilliant in my opinion, but for sure that's gonna create goosebumps.
What we really wanted to do was take all of this beautiful artistry that have been put into creating these games and interpret that for our live show environment.
The team that we have, they are very dedicated people and are very good and very experienced. For me, it's very exciting.
PlayStation the concert made it possible for us to cherry pick all the finest talents, ranging from composers, orchestrators, arrangers, light designers, video designers, performers, stage directors. I mean, you name it.
But everybody had this focus, right? We wanted to stay true and authentic to what the games mean to people, but we also wanted to find opportunities to create a new experience for the people attending the show. So I think that is our North Star. Everybody could just apply all their creative energy to that.
There's something supremely powerful about music, and really when we think about how we already incorporate that into our games and the worlds that we build and the characters and the stories that we tell, I think there's just limitless opportunities about how we can take that beyond the console.
Hopefully all these melodies from these iconic franchises are gonna trigger memories of navigating through Horizon, of playing Last of Us, of being Kratos. I'm really excited for the music of all these games to literally take center stage at long last.
Music is powerful, right? And music makes a connection. It's a universal language. It bypasses our intellect and it connects right to our emotions, right? And we know that and we're respecting that. And we also appreciate the impact that this music and our games have had on our fans.
It's a lot of really good composers who have worked on this. It's music that works outside of the context of the game.
Along the journey, I found that the samurai used to play this instrument called the biwa, the Satsuma biwa. And this instrument and style of playing almost was lost completely. And I got to learn about how to write for this ancient and incredibly beautiful instrument. I think that the purpose of all this authenticity is that somehow that draws the gamer into the emotional experience of the game.
Coming up with the sound of Horizon, which kind of reflects both sort of the tribalism and the synthetic side of it, was quite a lot of trial and error. One of the things that the team of Guerrilla was very set on was to not sound like any particular ethnicity. And so one of the ways we approached it was kind of thinking from a perspective of like, if we were a tribe ourselves and we were, discovered all these existing instruments, but we didn't quite know how to play them, what would that sound like? And so we started doing things like using instruments in an unusual way. So let's take a violin or a cello, but let's play it with plectrums as opposed to bowing it. That sort of became the palette of Horizon.
Everything that you hear is written for this group, for this ensemble. So we have a 15-piece band, that's 13 players and 2 singers.
The performances are fantastic. Seeing it live is so much more emotional in a way than just hearing it at home.
I just think that we have to honor the instrumentation of the original piece. And if that means we have to hire a hurdy-gurdy player, then I'm here for it. I'm excited.
It turned out that it's quite difficult to find a player for a medieval instrument, right, nowadays. But we succeeded.
Sometimes people have seen it on a video game, for instance, and that sparked their interest and they follow the path of the hurdy-gurdy. It's nice to be part of a bigger thing, adding your sound to be heard, and I think it sounds great.
This is an instrument called a hurdy-gurdy that gamers have heard a lot in God of War.
I'm really excited about every single instrument that we get a chance to lay our hands on that we wouldn't normally get a chance to play. So, for example, the taiko drums that we play for Ghost of Tsushima. So it was important to include the ronroco, which we actually had shipped to us from Argentina. The composer of the music from The Last of Us, Gustavo Santaolalla, it's his voice.
Yeah, so when we were working on the game, before we had a composer, we had a folder on the network where we would throw tracks. Just felt like this has the right vibe, the right tone. Tone is sometimes, can be very difficult to explain with words, but music just hits you emotionally. You get a feeling out of it. And there was one point where I'm looking at this folder, I'm like, man, there's a lot of stuff here from Gustavo Santaolalla. So I remember speaking to our music team at PlayStation and saying, what if we got Gustavo to work on the game? It's like, well, he's never done games. He's won 2 Oscars. He's probably not going to want to do this. I'm like, let's try. Let's bring him in. Let's have a meeting. Let's see what he says. And we brought him in and I pitched him the entire story of The Last of Us from beginning to end. It's like, an hour-long presentation. Gustavo was like, I've been looking for a video game to do, and this is the game. I want to do this game.
Chad, our orchestrator, contacted Gustavo directly and said, we need a ronroco. Where would you recommend that we get them? And he put us onto a lovely guy by the name of Pablo Richter. And Pablo made us the instrument and sent it to us. It arrived, let's say, 2 weeks before rehearsals, which gave our guitarist time to work with it and learn how the instrument responds.
And it just has a really nice resonance to it. But I don't know, every time I play this instrument, I just feel like I'm in South America, like walking the Andes or something.
And now we have it for our show, which is really exciting, and it sounds perfect.
To work with costumes. We wanted to create something that worked through all the different worlds, and they're such iconic worlds, these games. So we kind of had to go for something that kind of sat back, but also really pushed forward at the same time. We wanted to go for a dark palette, which is like the blacks and the dark greys and stuff. But then adding kind of textures of leather and like the little metal elements that would be catching light and stuff on stage, because things need to, you need the textures to stand out kind of thing. And actually worked with each player to bring out what they needed and also their personality. So they're not necessarily costumes in a way, they're kind of actually like an elevated fashion version of themselves.
One of the core values of PlayStation is always being on the bleeding edge of innovation and entertainment. Ultimately, that's core to the DNA of PlayStation. That's who we are, and those are our values. And I think it's really important for us to make sure that those shine through with everything that we do.
It brings you back and it brings you to the now. It's just a lovely, complete experience. If you like music, if you like games, it's probably for you.
It should be something you will never forget.
I mean, I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to just see this music represented in its best light.
I don't think this is something you're going to want to miss.